Hello there, everyone, and welcome back. This is Sashi rating weapons in Super Mecha Champions, Season 17. Of course, these are my opinions, but I will show you some of my stats in the in-game right over this little screen here. You get a bit of a reference. I'm definitely not an Alpha Knight or pro player or something. I just really enjoy this game. Been playing it for almost 2 years. Yeah, I learned quite some things over the past 2 years. I've been playing it almost daily, a little bit less the past few weeks because I've been very busy again with work. But so it's on and off for me. But in general, I think I average out in playing a couple of games every 2 days or something. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. It's been a while since I did a tier list on weapons. So let's just start here. You see it's kind of categorized in rifles, then short range, long range, anti-mecha, artillery weapons. And then these two are kind of in the anti-mecha weapons. They can be used as such, but more on that later. I think they should actually be here with the short range weapons. Same like for these two actually. Anyway, let's jump in here. The SMG, tactical SMG, is I will, by the way, only compare the best versions of all the weapons. Otherwise, it's gonna get very complicated because, of course, the purple one of this is better than the green one of that, but then the golden one of that. It's gonna get very complicated. So I will just use the best one. So this purple, 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 golden, 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 etc. So what are the chances of me picking up a purple SMG? Well, pretty high, especially early game against other pilots. This will just melt down pilots, especially if you're piloting Ju Chong on skateboard or Mobius in close range. It will just obliterate your people. The only thing that makes it a little bit weak is against the gun shield, for example. I think this is a pretty good weapon. This one, I would say, the heavy rifle is slightly better than the SMG because it shoots a little bit of a further distance than the SMG. And it has heavier rounds, and those heavy rounds actually penetrate the gun shield. So that, I think, is very important because most people still really love rocking the gun shield still in late game. So having a heavy rifle with you will just shoot through it right away, and it kills fast if you're chasing down your opponents. Then long-range rifles. I think the assault rifle and the light rifle, I will put them together because they're kind of the same weapon, I would say. The assault rifle has a little bit stronger rounds but slower shooting, a little bit longer distance, but also more recoil. The light rifle, less recoil, so it's more precise but shorter distance, a little bit less impactful, the shots. But more reliable, you could say. So both of them are pretty good. I think the assault rifle is slightly better in competent hands. So the better the player, the assault rifle gets a little bit better. But I think both of them are pretty equal in terms of would I pick it up. But the moment I find a different weapon for long range, I probably will replace it over this one. Pulse rifle, kind of same category, although it is stronger. If you get like 2 headshots in, you manage to just kill people immediately. Long range, pretty strong against Mecha actually, also if you manage to hide away. Yeah, don't underestimate the pulse rifle in competent hands. Then moving on to the Mediator MG, and the Mediator MG, in last time, I think it was season 13 when I did a ranking of weapons, I just didn't understand this weapon well, and then some followers commented like, hey, it's actually more for a short range weapon than an anti-mecha weapon, because I thought it was an anti-mecha weapon. Of course, it can work against mecha, but it's just too slow and unprecise. And I ranked it actually as like lowest tier possible in my ranking video, but now that I played more games over the past year or so, I've been picking it up like instead of a heavy rifle or instead of a gun shield, shotguns, and you can just obliterate people if they're right next to you, especially with Mobius. Again, weapon is crazy, and you can use it against Mecha occasionally, but I preferably use this to just burst down the enemy, and it's pretty strong. I will not always pick it, but if I have like a heavy rifle or if I have like a purple shotgun, I will probably pick up the Mediator MG over another short range weapon that I carry. So also about my loadout, everyone has their own different preferences, but I usually have one long range weapon, one short range weapon versus pilots, and one anti-mecha weapon. Those three at least, and preferably they are like interchangeable, but I would like to have one of each. So this would for me be the slot of short range weapon. And it does a lot of damage. If you get 2 headshots in, you just kill the enemy. So it's pretty good. Requires some practice though. Achilles rifle, whenever I come across it, I will immediately pick it up. So not only is this for me an upgrade to the gun shield, it also functions as an very effective anti-mecha weapon. It works against pilots close range, medium range, against mecha close range, medium range, and long range if you manage to lead your target well. Very solid weapon. This does a lot of damage, gives you good shield, also against splash damage, like explosive damage. So yeah, Achilles rifle, much recommended. And yeah, I've been taking the gun shield as a frame of reference basically, because it's such a popular weapon. Most people that you end up with in the end game pick up a gun shield and keep it with them. I've seen also YouTubers and other Super Mecha Champion players have a gun shield and then some other close range weapon, just for the protective value that it offers. It's really strong in pilot versus pilot combat. For pilot versus mecha combat, it can save your ass. It can help you out a little bit, but it's not that good of a damage. But against pilots, if you just get the headshot in there with especially the golden gun shield, yeah, you can just obliterate people with one shot if they're close enough and if your aim is good enough. Gun shield, definitely a good weapon, but after its nerfs, definitely not an auto include anymore for me. The Achilles rifle basically took over that spot. But yeah, the gun shield against all of these weapons is pretty strong, except for the Mediator MG and the heavy rifle. They kind of blast through the shield. And I'm not sure, I haven't tested with the Achilles rifle, but I can imagine, because the Achilles rifle does a little bit of splash damage, that you can go around if you aim at the feet, for example. Then continuing with the burst shot, I always get these two. Yeah, this is a burst shot, but it's called the Shatter Star. These two I always confuse. So this is Rainstorm, this is the Shatter Star shotgun. This weapon gets the better your aim is. So if your aim is reliable, then always pick this, because it will just one-shot people. If you manage to jump and release at the right time to get a headshot in, it shoots right. The golden one versus this golden one, it shoots right through the gun shield and kills the people with one shot if your aim is correct. So yeah, this weapon is crazy. It also does a lot of damage in melee range if you really need to, versus mecha. If you manage to jump around and roll around the mecha, forcing them to not, going around them and making sure they don't hit you. You can use it as that as well, but mostly it's like a pilot destroyer. Same goes for this one. And then if I would ask myself, which one would I prefer? So I used to prefer the Rainstorm shotgun because it's a little bit more reliable. It shoots, because it's an semi-automatic shotgun rifle. So if you miss a couple of shots and before emptying your canister, you can still take a pilot down. this one is quicker. So if your aim is better, the Shadow Star is better. The better, objectively, the better option because a single shot deals more damage. This one is a little bit more reliable. So it really depends on your playstyle, depends on how good your aim is. The better your aim, the better this one gets. And if you want to be a bit more reliable, I would pick this one. They're both equal, just do different things. But if you would come across both of them and the players have equal skill, the player wielding this will win because it shoots faster. It can kill faster than this one. So having said that, I do think this one is awesome and this one is an auto-include. If I would look at it from the kill potential perspective, basically, in the least amount of time. This one only gets there because it gives you so many defensive capabilities and it works against pilots and mecha. And this is just a one-shot wonder, basically, if your aim is good. But that's a big if. Your aim has to be good, otherwise this one becomes easily a very bad weapon even. For a long time I've avoided it because my aim was just not good enough. But now my aim is getting better and better over time. So I'm picking this one more, and it requires some practice, but it's definitely worthwhile to go for the Shadow Star there. Then going to the rifle. The rifle used to be an auto-include, but then they nerfed the shooting rate, and now it's just a decent weapon. I think they might have nerfed it a little bit too much. If you get headshots in, it's pretty good, but I'm thinking here, would I take a pulse rifle over a rifle? For long range, actually no. I would take the rifle over the pulse rifle still. It has a longer range. Pulse rifle functions a little bit better in close range though. But there's so many other better close range options. For the long range, the rifle is definitely better. And the medium range as well. It's reliable. Big shots. Very good with the headshots. Sniper rifle, I've been picking more and more lately because it does you can one-shot people with a headshot from the blue one, I think. I don't remember ever doing it with the green one. With the blue one and higher, if you get a headshot in, you do 200 damage. So that means you can one-shot every pilot except for Ivan, which is pretty good. So that means also with the green one, you can also pilot like the smaller HP pilots. You can also one-shot those like Cyrus, Serena, Mila, those kinds of pilots. But the average pilot you can kill with the blue one already. So the purple one also does a lot of damage, surprisingly so, against mecha. Because you can shoot fast. That's the thing. If they don't find you and you shoot your bullets fast, you can get a couple of hundred damage in there. Quite quickly. Same goes for the rifle actually. So don't underestimate these against mecha too. But they're mostly being used against pilots, and I think they're kind of equal. I would say the sniper rifle I would always pick over the rifle. Thinking here. But the sniper rifle is not an auto-include for me. Although, yeah, so they're kind of in the same category. I would say this is like more an A+, and this is a solid A. But as you can see, I've kind of like simplified my tiers over the past, compared to the past seasons, to make it a little bit more clear what I mean by it. Explosive sniper rifle I always pick. To me, this is the single best long-range weapon. It works really well on medium range, works well on long range, like really, really long range. It has the best range of all of these weapons, and it has the best single shot damage. Of course, your aim has to be good, and especially on the longer range, you have to lead your targets carefully. You have to predict where they're moving to be able to just still hit them. But yeah, if you get that practice in there, it's so good. Especially the golden one can just one-shot people with a body shot even. If you hear people fight and you just crawl close to them, you can just take them all down before them with body shots before they even notice you. And it works well against Mecha too, this weapon. Really solid. The ion cannon for me always was an auto include, but it has dropped a little bit after its nerfs. The reload time definitely did hurt the ion cannon. It's a long range weapon, mostly against Mecha, but also works against pilots. Because Mecha is still a really good weapon, especially if the gold one, you can just, with a couple of shots, like maybe 4, 5, I think 3 against an Andromeda or a Raven, 4 or 5 against the stronger, the higher durability Mecha, can take them down. You can make headshots with it against Mecha and against pilots. Still a very, very solid weapon that has a long range. But the increased reload time is definitely hurting it. And I noticed, and I don't remember reading about this in the patch notes, but maybe I just missed something. Even if I carry the golden ion cannon and I headshot, I remember this, I even had it in one of my recordings, and I headshot a player like a Mila. So a pilot that has 180 durability. That headshot shows a crit, but it does not kill the pilot. So to me that's crazy, and it kind of sounds like a bug. I don't think an ion cannon headshot from a golden one specifically should be worse than a blue sniper rifle. Because the blue sniper rifle, the green sniper rifle. The green sniper rifle kills a Mila or a Cyrus or a Serena with a headshot. A golden ion cannon doesn't. That's just silly to me. Still, because it's both good against pilots and Mecha, I still rank it as an awesome weapon. It also has decent splash damage, so you don't have to have perfect aim. The sniper rifle requires you to have better aim. The ion cannon hits a little bit easier, I would say. But yeah, the explosive sniper rifle definitely took the spot of the ion cannon for me of best long-range weapon. Okay, moving on to the laser cannon. I think the laser cannon, when it came in, I had some fun with it, and now still occasionally I have some fun with it. With the purple one, I don't think it has a golden one, or does it? I don't remember now, actually. Well, please let me know in the comments if you remember if the laser gun can be golden. I don't remember. But yeah, if you manage to stay hidden, it can blast Mecha away. In medium to close range, it can be decent against pilots because it gives you this auto aim kind of thing. It kind of pushes its beam towards the target. So you have, with very bad aim, if you're just starting, just pick up the laser game. If you're just starting the game, getting used to everything, I think the laser game is a very noob-friendly weapon. I think the laser. So if you're talking noob-friendly weapons, go for the gun shield, the laser gun, and the killer's rifle still. That's just a good weapon all over. Heavy rifle is also pretty noob-friendly, I would say. Maybe even more than the gun shield, but the gun shield just gives you a lot of protection. So protection equals lots of room for failure, basically making mistakes. Laser gun is okay. I think compared to the other options, I would prefer the other options because they either have a longer range or deal more damage in a shorter amount of time. But laser gun still gets the job done. Then this one, of course, the purple one again, I would say, if you use it well, it can obliterate, like with one unloading of 5 or 6 grenades. The grenade launcher will obliterate most Mecha just by emptying one clip if you hit all your shots, because they each do like 450 damage or something, which is crazy. And with the purple one, your reload time is pretty decent. The blue and the green one, it's just bad. Just don't use that. But the purple one, the thing is, it is pretty close range. So you have to over-aim like quite a lot for medium to longer range. Long range, basically it doesn't do anything. But in melee range and in medium range, this weapon does a lot. But the thing is, I wouldn't call it awesome actually, because, also definitely not mad. But I this weapon I very rarely use because there's just better options for anti-mech. I would definitely have an ion cannon over this because it's flexible regarding range. If I compare to this one, for example, especially the golden one, it has the bullets or the grenades themselves do less damage in this one, but it shoots faster and it shoots at a longer, more reliable range. So I think what is it called again? I always forget this name. Smart Exploder Gun. Weird ass name. I think this weapon is awesome. It's very rare though. You don't see it so much in the games. The grenade launcher is like everywhere. Even the laser gun you see quite a lot. But like the Mediator MG and the Smart Exploder gun, you don't see so much. Even though they added now also a blue variant of this one, which is alright. But the golden one of this you don't see so much. Highly recommended. I'm actually thinking if I would have a game and I have to choose between the Achilles rifle and this one, I might take both of them actually. If I take the golden one of this because it has this good range. And it shoots through the gun shield, it shoots around corners. This one doesn't shoot around corners and it's good against Mecha. If I find a golden one, I would probably pick it up. And most likely pick it up and equip this one in my close range shot over this one, probably. So if I have like these three weapons, I'm ready to go and just not go, but just to win the game basically. So golden all three, yeah, either one of these basically. But I think if I have the choice, I will take the Achilles rifle over the Shadow Star shotgun just for its reliability and versatility. Yeah, this one definitely belongs in the auto include, I think, in the S rank. Then going for the exploder butts. The exploder bots are actually really good in the early game. And that's it. So usually this is one of the first weapons I'm picking up because you see them everywhere. They're very common. So the interesting thing is, against Mecha, this one is only useful if they don't know where you are. So if you're managing to hide in buildings and stuff and they're occupied with someone else, but in a 1-versus-1 situation where the enemy actually knows where you are, the exploder bots are not great because if the enemy is competent and capable, they will just shoot the bots down before reaching them and then also pinpoint your location and just chase you after and hunt you down and kill you. So they're too slow, I think. There's a little fun fact though. There's a bug in the game where the green version of this is like on speed. Though just try it out sometime. If you equip the green one of this, the moment they see the target, they just dash to it. They propel themselves towards the target. This doesn't happen with the blue and the purple ones. So the green ones, of course, do have the slow loading time, but the speed of those bots is crazy. It's definitely a bug, and it has not been addressed yet. Last time I checked. So today a new patch came out. I didn't check it. I also didn't read about it. So probably the green one. It's been going on for like more than a year, as I remember. So it's like one of those hidden bugs, I guess. But nonetheless, I would still... I would pick it over... it's kind of the same for the grenade launcher and the laser gun. I think the laser gun and the grenade launcher are a little bit more reliable, but this one is really... Actually, I like the exploding bots mostly against pilots. Early game to find them, and also late game to find them. But like late game, as everyone is already in ace time without mecha, it's just pilot first pilot, then those are actually pretty fun to use because it helps you give information of where the enemy is and distract them while you blast them with like a rifle or something, or headshot them or get closer, you know. So it's more of a, I would say actually more of an anti-pilot weapon than an anti-mecha weapon, which gives it a little bit of a weird category. But then again, most of the other explosive weapons are better than this one, I would say. So actually, although I do use it a lot, but I wonder, would I use it as much if it was less common in the game? Hmm. No, it has its good qualities. That like the good qualities are better than those, but the bad qualities are worse. So it's kind of decent, I guess. Yeah. This one, I would say, man, the sensory mine is a relatively new weapon that came out last season, I think, if I remember correctly, and it functions similarly to the exploding bot, but those run towards your target. These stay stuck on the ground basically, and I do think they do a little bit more damage than this. They also disorient the enemy, so they give like a kind of hazy, glitchy kind of view when the enemy gets hit. So that's nice. Um, but they get stuck to the ground. They have a pretty decent explosive radius to get triggered for explosion. But if the enemy is smart, they will just stay around if they the moment they see it. So either your aim has to be really well, that you that basically hit them, like hit the body with one of these mines, and then it explodes immediately. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, even then it's not that great actually, because then you might as well just pick up, if your aim is that good, go for this one. Yeah, no, I don't think this adds so much to the game. Okay, going to the flamethrower, and I'm thinking here, should I take the flamethrower and the cryo gun together? Yeah, I think so, because they're kind of similar, as in they do AoE damage, continuous. The flamethrower burns the target. The cryo gun can freeze the target. The flamethrower does more damage in time, some higher DPS, but this one can guarantee the kill if you manage to get like a couple of seconds of cryogun freezing damage in, because then the enemy gets frozen and then you can just take them down after that by emptying your clip. The flamethrower is quicker, goes around gun shields more easily. Cryogun is slower, but it can also freeze Mecha. And then on top of that, so the cryogun is the more versatile weapon of the two, and it has a golden variant. So the golden variant, and it has also on top of that a secondary mode of shooting that has longer range, that you shoot snowballs basically, instead of the gust of what is it called, cold wind or something, frost damage. So I would say the cryogun is the more versatile of the two. It works, so the snowballs also work really well on medium range, and if you aim as well, even on long range, and it does a lot of damage against mecha and pilots. But it's not an auto include for me, because I would prefer to have this one, for example, against mecha, or this one against pilots, or even this one against mecha and pilots. So the cryogun is definitely a fun weapon. It can you have to play around with it a little bit to get used to when to use which mode, but it has a lot of versatility. The flamethrower is less versatile, but it's just more reliable. And usually when I have this matchup, like I have the purple flamethrower and my opponent has the golden cryogun, it really depends on the player. If they're both with equal skill, it just depends on the moment. I think these weapons are very equal in their brawling potential. I think the cryogun is the slightly better weapon because it's more versatile. But both of them are awesome. Both of them are much recommended for close range. Sometimes I also use the cryogun temporarily for an anti-mecha weapon if I really don't have anything better. But the same can be said for the flamethrower. You can, if you really like Have some jumping pads on you and a skateboard. You can just rock that flamethrower and kill enemy mecha. I have done it before. It's definitely possible with both of these weapons, which is really cool. But you have to stay mobile. So especially like Ju Chong or something could rock that. Or Mobius. Okay, moving on to the Hydra missile. I'll place it right up here in the auto include. These two are pretty equal for me. The Smart Exploder Gun and the Hydra Missile. They have both amazing splash damage. The Hydra Missile shoots faster though, and I feel like it has a little bit more like homing kind of capabilities than this one. But it just shoots so fast, both against pilots and mecha. I think this one, the Smart Exploder Gun, has a little bit more range. But the homing missile has a high DPS, so it deals more damage per second. Therefore, having a slightly better kill potential. Yeah. If I would have already like my long range preferred weapon and my short range preferred weapon, I will probably pick up the Hydra missile over the Smart Exploder Gun. Most of the times. But they're pretty interchangeable in most of the cases. Then the homing missile has received another buff, like a couple of patches ago, reducing its reload time, and it was already a really good weapon, and now it's even better. It's a nice like shoot and hit and run kind of weapon against mecha. Usually I have this one in the early game, in the mid game, and then I swap it out for something like these two. Or this one, and we'll come there later. But homing missile, I think, is a very good weapon to have on you, especially the golden one, especially if you are on the map. The diamond one, that one is really amazing because you can shoot two. If you have the I just realized I missed one terminal in my previous video because there's this terminal that gives you an additional clip. Didn't come across that one, I guess, when I was making screenshots. Anyway, additional clip works really well with the homing missile because you can then shoot two on a purple golden homing missile against mecha, and that does a lot of damage. That's like 700 or 800 damage or something. Very useful. And also useful against pilots. I really like using the homing missile against pilots. Especially against people with the gun shield. You will just blast around them and you can take your distance. You do need good aim. You do need to practice it because you need to lead the target quite well. But it's so satisfying if you fall out of the sky and release one homing missile at a pilot and still take them down. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So pretty cool. And then the plasma missile I'll place here. It's a weapon I had to get used to, but the more I play, the more I auto-pick this one, especially if it's the golden one, because it's good against pilots for the damage and for the information it gives you, because it tracks them kind of. Not the plasma bolt itself doesn't track them, but the damage numbers that are shown on your screen shows tracking of the enemy, because if the numbers move to the left, while this one is hitting them, that means the player is moving to the left. So this gives you very valuable information that I think none of these weapons are... Yeah, maybe the exploding butts are giving you similar information, but I think this one is more precise. It deals more damage. It has a pretty big AoE range with those plasma bolts, how do you call it? Arcs of electricity, or... No, plasma, of course, not electricity. And it's really strong against mecha too. It is an anti-mecha weapon, but it works against mecha and pilots. Combos really well with you shoot one of these shots towards the target and then swap to your long-range weapon to shoot them, and they hit kind of at the same time. Then if you manage to combo that off, you can just insta-kill people basically. Yeah, plasma missile I think is my favorite weapon. I would pick the Hydra missile over it. But then sometimes I would just have both if I'm feeling sassy, basically. Like, yeah, I think that's the plasma missile is definitely top tier. Um, so as you can see, all of these top tier anti-mecha weapons also work against pilots. That's what makes them so good. And this one is top tier because it's one hittable against pilots, and it also works well against mecha. And this one is here is just because it can one hit pilots. Yeah, I think this is a good good list. And the reason why that new, like, what is it? I think it counts as a vehicle. Let me just look quickly. That new weapon that came out like last season. If I look here, firearms. So I took these screenshots from the training grounds. Yeah, the guided missile is not in here, but I will definitely rank that one as bad. It's slow, it's stationary, it gives your location away pretty quickly, doesn't do enough damage for its speed. I don't know. I don't know why they had to make it stationary. So for me, it feels more like a vehicle that you cannot use. So you just place it somewhere and then give away your location, basically. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the guided missile weapon. Having said that, I think that rounds it off. So as always, these are just my opinions based on my experiences. If you agree or disagree or have different ideas, just let me know in the comments. If you like this kind of content, hit the like and a subscribe. And check out my other ranking videos of Super Mecha Champions. I hope you all have a beautiful day. And as always, I wish you peace.